Welcome back, guys, and thanks for checking out today's video. I have a super cool RSX Type S in the shop for tuning today, and I know you guys will enjoy this video. This is a fully built turbocharged RSX Type S. Put down some great numbers. I've already tuned it. It's all said and done. But what I'm going to do is, like usual, go through the full build, share some shots of the dyno poles. I captured a good clip of the exhaust and the idle because it has some cool cams in it, and then I will share the final results at the end. So you guys know me, I really like RSX Type S's. Eventually, one day I'll probably finally finish my all-wheel drive RSX Type S. But today it was cool working on this car because it's very reminiscent of my car, being a white 06 RSX Type S. But what is super cool about this setup is the owner has basically gone full out. He has done a fully built K20 with custom turbo setup. The owner spec'd all this stuff out himself and then had an engine builder build the engine for him. It's a piston rod engine, it's stock sleeves. I'm gonna try to get as much information as possible about the build, and I'll put it in the description. Like I said, built K20, pistons, rods, it's got drag Cartel 3.2 cams, full valve train setup. The VTC is actually locked on this setup, and unfortunately, the engine builder would not share those settings. Otherwise, I would tell you guys what it's set to, but why don't I start at the turbo side of things and work my way back. He's running a Precision 6266 journal bearing turbo, Sidewinder turbo manifold from a local shop that actually gets these made. My JDM addiction here in the Toronto area. I've tuned a lot of cars with this turbo manifold and it works really well. Wastegate, it's running a Tial 44mm wastegate. It does have a 3-inch downpipe custom made by a local shop as well. GT Customs, actually GT Customs did most of the exhaust work and the all the charge piping. GT Customs always does a fantastic job. I've tuned a bunch of cars that they've put together, and the work they do on all the charge piping and the exhaust fab is fantastic, always. Continue on. Exhaust wise, it has a K20 3-inch RSX Type S catback system with the oval piping in the mid pipe, so it has good ground clearance. Moving on, we have the K20 72mm throttle body, a 8th gen RBC Intake Manifold. Injector wise, we're running Injector Dynamics ID 1050X injectors. The car has been converted to a return style fuel system with an AEM fuel pump in the tank. I believe it's a 340. We'll try to confirm that. And like I said, custom charge piping by GT Customs and a Sheepy race vertical flow, same side intercooler up front. I tuned it on K-Pro V4 today. It is on pump gas, so it's on our Petro-Canada 94 octane pump gas. So the wastegate has an 8 PSI spring in it. It does have a Mac valve boost control that is connected to the Honda K-Pro. Technically, I didn't really need to adjust any boost because it's running about 8 PSI and then it creeps up near redline, but I'm gonna share that with you in a bit. Why don't I cut to the car running so you can hear what the engine sounds like and the idle sounds like with these 3.2 cams, and then I'll cut to some dyno shots and then I'll share the final results. Before we get to the poles, actually, I should mention the wheels and the lip because I know people ask. This is a Mugen replica front lip, and he is running Graham Light 17x9 plus 32 offset wheels with 245 40/17 tires. And I'm really digging this fitment. It is nice and flush, and I really like these Graham Lights. They look great on the car. But if there's anything else I've missed, I will do my best to put it in the description. But for now, let's get to checking out how the idle quality is with these cams and the dyno poles. right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed those dyno pulls and the sound clips, but I'm sure you're more interested in what the final results are. And today, like I said, it ran mostly 9 pounds of boost, and then near redline it really started to creep, and it hit almost 16 pounds at redline. We did rev it out to technically 8,900 RPM because at that point the injectors were completely maxed out. They were at 91% duty cycle, and it's not really safe to go past that. And honestly, the amount of power it's at is plenty for now. I know the owner is going to come back next spring with a bigger set of injectors, so we can actually push this setup to what he really wants. But for now, it is at 515 wheel horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque. And like I said, it's only about 9 to 10 to 16 pounds right at the end. You can see where the boost actually starts really ramping up because of creep. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna jump in here. I'm editing this video for you and it's gonna be uploaded very soon, but I wanted to add a bit to this last part of the video because sometimes when I'm recording these videos, in the moment, I don't always capture everything I wanna say, so I thought I would take this opportunity to jump in here and just add a little bit to it. This setup was fantastic. It's super overbuilt for only 500 wheel horsepower, and I feel like I'm gonna get questioned as to why I didn't make more, but so I wanted to add a bit to that. And what I have is I brought up the data log from that tuning session, and I have one of the pulls here just to try to help explain what I was getting at with the injector duty cycle and the creep we were seeing on the dyno that day. So this engine was amazing. It's super overbuilt for this power level, and the goal is a super reliable 600 wheel horsepower on pump, and that should totally be doable with a bigger set of injectors. What I have up here is the dyno pull, and what I wanted to show was the issue we ran into with the boost and running out of injectors. So like I said in the video, it's got about an 8 PSI wastegate spring, and what we see here is at about almost 4,700 RPM, the turbo is spooled, and we see about 7 pounds of boost, and it creeps a little bit. VTEC engages around 52, and we fluctuate boost a little bit. We see about 9 for a bit, and this is all with the boost controller off. So no added duty cycle with the boost controller. It's pretty stable, only a little bit of creep up until about almost 8,000 RPM. So 7,800 RPMs, we start seeing a bit more creep. And so 8 PSI spring, we're now at almost 11 pounds of boost. And yes, this car has a boost controller, but keep in mind, boost controllers can only raise boost, they can't lower boost. So we're at the mercy of the design of the turbo setup and the wastegate spring. So we're at almost 11 pounds of boost on an 8 PSI wastegate spring. And as we go up, so we're at 8,000, we're at 11.5 pounds of boost. And then by red line, it super ramps up. And we have 8,900 RPM, almost 9,000. And we're at 91% duty cycle, basically 16 pounds of boost, 15.9 PSI of boost at almost 9,000 RPM. And that's kind of why we had to stop. Boost was really starting to take off. This motor is built to handle much higher revs. We had every intention of revving it to about 9,500 RPM, but ran out of injectors, too much creep, so we had to stop there. So it's winter now. You can see outside snow. Next year, he'll be back probably with a set of 1700s, maybe 22s. We'll see how it goes. It'll all depend if he wants to run E85 or whatnot, but the goal was basically 600 horsepower on pump gas. So technically 1700s would be fine. Might even be able to get away with 1500s, but it's nice to have a bit of extra room. So next season with bigger injectors, probably about 4 more pounds of boost, and raise the RPM a few hundred RPM more, we should easily be able to hit that 600 horsepower goal. Anyways, so hopefully that helps. And I know a lot of you guys like to see the data, and it's a really good example of what happens creep-wise. Basically, the turbo manifold is so efficient. It is a T4, I think I forgot to mention that in the video. It's a T4 exhaust housing on the turbo, and they flow so much air. It's easier for the exhaust gases to just go right through the turbo instead of bypassing out the wastegate and bleeding off to help control boost. So that's what we're seeing here. Basically, the turbo running away and us running out of injectors. So hopefully that helps clear things up, and we'll get back to the rest of the video. So next season, hopefully he'll be back with a bigger set of injectors, and we will push for the 600 horse, which is what he ultimately wants in this setup. But hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.